Kujo Kaioya, impeccably attired for his inaugural day at the academy, strolls confidently towards the entrance, a knot of apprehension tightening in his stomach. Concerned about standing out, he shoots anxious glances around, especially mindful of the chatty feline, Feliz, nestled in his bag. He sternly instructs the loquacious cat to maintain a low profile, but Feliz, unyielding in her nonchalant demeanor, seems to scoff at the very idea of following rules. Kiwa, desperately trying to avoid the label of an oddball, pleads with Feliz to stay concealed, fearing the judgmental gazes of his fellow students. In a counter-move, Feliz, with an air of insubordination, contends that Kaya's incessant worry about societal perceptions stems from his limited interactions with people over the years. Kia, dismissing the notion, argues that the 3 years in the real world have made a profound impact on him, shaping his innate concerns. Despite his best efforts, Feliz exploits a moment of distraction and liberates herself from the confines of the bag. A girl trailing behind them, captivated by the sight of the talking cat, rushes over, her enthusiasm unbridled. Compliments pour in about Feliz's cuteness, and in the ensuing conversation, Kaioya probes if the girl, Imari Kati, is a fellow newcomer. Imari affirms this and eagerly displays her invitation letter, only to fumble and create a momentary panic as she struggles to locate it. Amid the ensuing chaos, Imari eventually triumphs, revealing an identical invitation from the academy. The school bell chimes, signaling the imminent commencement of the entrance ceremony. Imari, in a hurry, urges Kaioya to join her to avoid tardiness. As they depart, Kaioya cautions Feliz, emphasizing the importance of maintaining secrecy, as the revelation of their true identities could prove disastrous. The entrance ceremony unfolds with the Prime Minister delivering a speech on the school's history. However, Kaioya and Feliz notice the students' apparent disinterest, their attention diverted elsewhere. Feliz cryptically hints at the attendees' potential to influence nations, rendering the government inconsequential in their eyes. The ceremony takes an unexpected turn when a woman named Minaho Kua, the Academy's executive officer, abruptly interrupts, deeming the Prime Minister's address tedious. Minaho, with an air of authority, seizes the podium and declares the school's transformation into a quarantine facility. She elaborates on the necessity of containing the students, assuring them they won't be imprisoned against their will. However, the catch lies in the suppression of their memories and abilities. She acknowledges the reluctance to relinquish acquired talents and presents the Academy's proposal as a safe experiment. As Minaho attempts to explain the deal, a student interrupts, demanding brevity. In a dramatic flourish, Minaho summons a mystical rune, and to Kaioya's astonishment, menacing monsters materialize. Panic ensues among the minister's men, who flee, urging everyone to run. Contrary to the chaos, the students, fueled by excitement, eagerly grab weapons and swiftly dispatch the monsters. Kyoya, amused by the unexpected display of strength, witnesses the students effortlessly overcoming the threat, earning Minaho's applause. She commends the freshmen for their energy, dispelling any notion of a test. Instead, she labels the monster encounter as a challenge to reawaken their dormant strength. With a theatrical unveiling, Minaho discloses the Academy's mission to save the world once more. She unveils a grim narrative of demons devouring worlds connected to a colossal tree, the World Tree. The students are revealed as heroes tasked with venturing out to eliminate these malevolent entities. Minaho narrates the tale of a fearsome demon lord whose destructive rampage spanned multiple worlds, necessitating heroic intervention. The students are beckoned to embark on a mission to save countless worlds from impending doom, as the lost demon lord's malevolence continues to linger. Minaho Kua, with a gravity-laden tone, emphasizes the duty bestowed upon the students to thwart the impending threat of the demon lord of the lost world. Drawing a parallel between the school and a company dispatching heroes, she concludes her speech and swiftly transitions to the next activity, the agility measurement. Names including Kaioya and Kadi are called out, and they are instructed to follow Kua. The remaining heroes are directed to proceed with the agility test. In a surprising twist, the chosen 13 students, including Kaioya and Kadi, find themselves in another hall where Kua declares that they need not undergo the agility test and should return to their dormitory. This prompts one student, Kishi Materu, to question her intentions. In response, Kua rolls up her shirt's right sleeve, revealing a crest known as the Savior's Crest, a mark bestowed by the goddess as proof of saving the world. Kua scolds the students, labeling them as dropout heroes, ridiculing them for not defeating the Demon Lord, being deported or summoned as a team, but not fighting. This incites anger, particularly from Tu, who takes offense at being called a dropout. Tensions escalate as Tu attempts to confront Kua, leading to a physical altercation where Kaie rushes to check on Kadi. Tu offers excuses for his quest failure, blaming the world he was summoned to as a level 5 stage. He boasts about his raw power, but is interrupted when he tries to unleash Hellfire magic. In a surprising turn of events, his sigil is cut off, deactivating his magic before he can use it. Rei, the sword wielder, swiftly places her blade at his neck, imposing a point deduction for breaking the rules. Kuzuha intervenes, stating that they haven't formed groups yet, preventing further deductions. The failed students are informed that they don't even qualify as saviors. Rei and Kua discuss Teia's cancelled spell, contemplating who might have nullified its power. Kyoya enters his dorm room, acknowledging its comfort despite the disparity with the rooms granted to crest-bearing heroes. Feliz, emerging from his bag, warns him of being too obvious in neutralizing Tu's spell. Kyoya apologizes for his impatience, and both express concern about Feliz getting caught by the instructors. Feliz questions Kyoya if he would protect her in such a situation, receiving his assurance. In a surprising twist, Feliz transforms into a beautiful lady, revealing herself as the lost demon who had lost her powers but managed to regain some. She attempts to seduce Kyoya, who resolutely rejects her advances. Later, she reminisces about their meeting 3,000 years ago in another world, equivalent to just 3 years ago in the real world. Kyoya awakens in a desolate place with no memory, confronted by Feliz, who reveals herself as the Demon Lord of the Lost World. She discloses that the Lost World is a desolate place where everything has met its end. Feliz, being a Demon Lord, explains that she needs Kyoya to end her life due to her roots holding her back. She reveals the symbols of their spiritual cause and expresses her limitations in ending her own life, leading to her plea for assistance. Despite Kyoya's initial concerns about his fighting abilities, Feliz promises to personally train him until he can defeat her. After successfully defeating Feliz in their intense duel, Kyoya is taken to her treasury, a room brimming with treasures from 3,000 worlds she conquered, assuring him that he'll find everything he needs for his training. Feliz pledges to utilize all the treasures to make him strong enough to challenge her. Among the impressive items and ordinary-looking sword captures Kyoya's attention due to its stark simplicity compared to the other treasures. Curiosity prompts Kyoya to reach out to the sword, but Feliz materializes behind him, urgently warning against making contact. She reveals that the sword is a living demon sword from an ancient branch of calamity known as Laven Quinn. Touching it, let alone wielding it, could be fatal for Kyoya, as the blade devours people's souls. Feliz reassures him that in 300,000 years, he should be capable of mastering it. Startled by the revelation, Kyoya learns that time in the Lost World passes differently, only about how thousandth of the time in his world. Feliz pledges to thoroughly train Kyoya, promising to revive him each time he dies and restore his sanity if he goes astray. To celebrate, Feliz throws a welcoming party for Kyoya. The next morning, Kyoya embarks on his training journey, starting with simple tasks like walking a straight line. The subsequent challenges prove tougher, requiring Kyoya to enhance his body's precision. Over 30,000 years, Kyoya develops magical abilities and swordsmanship, battling demons created by Feliz. In the limited entertainment of the wasteland, Kyoya finds joy in conversations with Feliz. They discuss manga and reminisce about home, with Feliz always attentive. Amid these conversations, Kyoya shares the tale of his cat, a feline that never pays attention but feels like family. One day, Kyoya discovers a human skeleton, prompting him to question Feliz about her destruction of worlds. She reveals her role as a demon lord and a glitch created after completing her destructive task. Feliz pretends to lack empathy for humans, prompting accusations of lying. She advises Kyoya to rest for combat training, leaving him pondering her millennia-long isolation. As Kyoya contemplates liberating Feliz from her role as a destructive force, the prospect of sparing her life emerges. Feliz warns him that her temporary self won't last, and once consumed by her destructive drive, she'll start destroying everything, including him. As the inevitable battle approaches, Kyoya wonders if it's truly necessary. During the confrontation, Feliz questions Kyoya's feelings for her, expressing happiness about their 30,000 years together. As Kyoya rushes to attack, he realizes a change in Feliz's appearance and demeanor, recognizing the destructive impulse in a swift move. Feliz inflicts intense pain on Kyoya, but memories of her warm smile fuel his resolve. The intense duel unfolds with Kyoya calling out Feliz's name, reminding her of everything she taught him. Amidst the clash, he questions, what if he wishes for her to survive, emphasizing the joy of spending time together. The battle culminates in a powerful energy blast, with Kyoya emerging as the victor. Despite his victory, Kyoya hesitates to end Feliz's life. She pleads for her death to break the contract and allow him to return to his world. Kyoya, losing the will to strike her down, questions why she's apologizing, urging her to choose. Feliz inquires if he truly wants her to live despite causing harm, and Kyoya expresses his desire to break the chain binding her to her origin. Activating the sigil to summon Laven Quinn, Kyoya embarks on an impossible task. He demands half of everything, sharing the world with Feliz as the defeated demon lord. The dark wave of energy emitted by the sword drains Kyoya's life force as he confronts the monumental challenge of breaking the chain that binds Feliz to her destructive role. Amidst the energy unleashed by Laven Quinn, Kyoya encounters a soul within the sword, a mirrored version of himself. Laven Quinn attempts to dissuade him from using the sword, pointing out the many times Kyoya has given up on things, leading to his drama-free life. Despite the draining willpower and life force, Kyoya remains resolute, determined not to abandon Feliz. He strikes at Feliz's spiritual core with the sword, surrounded by a brilliant light that causes him to lose consciousness. Upon awakening, Kyoya finds a black cat on him, and shock sets in as he realizes the cat is Feliz. Even in Feline form, Feliz communicates with him, revealing that Laven Quinn has shattered her powers into fragments, making it impossible to maintain her human form. She has lost her abilities and even her curse. Kyoya questions if he succeeded, and Feliz explains that he's only halfway there. She expresses confusion about what to do next without the binding root. Feliz suggests coming to Kyoya's world, where he can introduce her to a normal life. A few days later, they escape the lost world and find themselves in Japan. While sightseeing, Feliz expresses relief for hitching a ride on the goddess's transfer gate, sparing them the hassle of building their own. Kyoya asks where she would like to visit next, but before she can answer, 3 mysterious men materialize through a portal behind them. Identifying themselves as part of the Transfer Management Committee, they hand Kyoya a letter summoning him to the UG Gracie Estate Academy. They vanish through the portal, bringing the story back to Kyoya's dorm room. Kyoya apologizes to Feliz for not being able to give her a normal life, but she reassures him, expressing gratitude for her life and agreeing to his proposal. Back in Kyoya's dorm room, Feliz asks about the power he's acquired, suggesting he could rule the school or even conquer the world. Kyoya, disinterested in such pursuits, emphasizes the consequences of wielding such power and the need to stay low-key. He decides to lead a peaceful life, expressing that he's done enough fighting for a lifetime. Feliz encourages him to have confidence in his abilities, and although hesitant, Kyoya eventually nods in agreement. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the academy, a goddess is thrilled about the impressive power shown by the students during the entrance ceremony, eagerly anticipating supervising them. Kyoya reflects on his first night at UG Gracie Academy, wondering what will happen on the second day of school as regular classes commence. He acknowledges the challenge of adapting to school life, having spent most of his time talking to Feliz during his training. Feliz overhears Kyoya muttering something and inquires. He shows her a book, a guide to communicating with people. With newfound determination, Kyoya prepares to face the challenges of interacting with others, boldly stepping into the unknown territory of social interaction at UG Gracie Academy. Kyoja's plan to navigate school life involves blending in to keep Feliz hidden and secure. Having spent the last 30,000 years primarily talking to Feliz, he feels the need to refresh his communication skills with other students. Feliz, feeling jealous, questions the uniqueness of their conversations, and Kyoja humorously lists instances of her mischievous behavior, including teasing, attempting to make him drink despite being a minor, and experimenting with new magic on him. Entering the classroom for his first lecture, Kyoja instructs Feliz to stay in the bag and communicate through telepathy. An unexpected voice greets him, and he discovers a seemingly empty classroom. Layla, a little goddess, reveals herself, leading Kyoja to assume she's a lost child due to her small size. Lala, agitated by the misconception, clarifies that she's a goddess and introduces herself. Kyoja, shocked and worried about Feliz's safety, apologizes for never having seen a goddess before. Lala, attempting to prove her existence, prompts Kyoja's concern. However, he flatters Layla, calling her young and talented to avoid suspicion. Despite his efforts, Layla remains suspicious, smelling something unusual from the bag. When Layla pets Feliz without detecting her demonic nature, Kyoja breathes a sigh of relief. Classmates start to arrive, and Kyoja wonders why they came willingly. He speculates on the impact of the executive officer's speech and realizes that no teacher has arrived yet. As coincidence would have it, the executive officer enters as their instructor, shocking the entire class. She sarcastically questions their reluctance to greet their instructor, and a student voices surprise at having a fellow student as their teacher. The executive officer emphasizes that everyone in the room is a hero with unique powers, making a regular adult unfit to teach them. She expresses a desire to get to know the students before starting the class, starting with a test of their capabilities. The executive officer, using advanced spatial magic, transports the entire class to a unique field-like space with a stitched sky. She challenges them to survive against new, stronger monsters she creates. Kyoja, excited to reignite his fighting spirit, draws his sword, ready for battle. The executive officer intends to use the monsters to assess the students' abilities and test their skills as heroes. Kyoja faces a formidable opponent, a needle dragon, which he confidently tackles, using his combat experience from fighting the Demon Lord for 30,000 years. However, he faces a dilemma. He must win without standing out too much to protect Feliz. If he wins too quickly or holds back too much, it could draw unwanted attention. Kyoja strategically fakes his abilities, earning the admiration of his classmates. However, a closer inspection reveals the dragon to be male, indicating its strength. Kyoja feigns an injury to divert attention, successfully avoiding further scrutiny. Suddenly, a chaotic presence emerges as a flame wisp, a shape-shifting pseudo-spirit, transforms into a dragon-like creature and unleashes fiery attacks on the classmates. Kyoja, quick on his feet, deploys defensive magic to protect himself and others. The dangerous situation prompts Layla, the goddess, to express concern and urge the executive officer to end the test. However, the executive officer is fast asleep, revealing her lack of intention to intervene. The flame wisp continues to wreak havoc, incinerating the surroundings and creating chaos among the students. The unfolding calamity leaves everyone on edge, with the goddess unable to influence the instructor's act. Kyoja, fed up with the chaos caused by the flame wisp, decides to take matters into his own hands. Using his commanding gaze, he orders the wisp to stay, and the creature complies out of fear. Meanwhile, the mastermind behind the wisp, Kishima Takeru, reveals himself and dismisses the situation as a boring test. Kishima arrogantly mocks the other students for their perceived weakness and expresses disdain for the damage caused by the wisp. He goes as far as calling them trash, prompting Kyoja to stand up against him. Imadi also joins in, demanding an apology from Kishima for the harm caused. Imadi, fueled by anger, attacks Kishima, surprising everyone, including Kyoja. Kishima retaliates using defensive and recovery magic, showcasing his superiority. Kyoja advises Imadi to step down, but she remains resolute, determined to face Kishima on her own. As the duel begins, Kishima continues his taunts, underestimating Imadi. Kyoja, recognizing the peril Imadi is putting herself in, refrains from intervening, respecting her choice to fight. Imadi attempts to use her unique skill, the flower bud of heavenly Samjay, but her lack of strength prevents its full activation. Witnessing Imadi's struggle, both Kyoja and Feliz are concerned about her well-being. Lala, a relatively weak goddess, tries to intervene, but Kishima dismisses her with a threatening demeanor. Undeterred, Layla seeks Kyoja's help, expressing her concern about Kishima's danger and intimidating appearance. Kyoja advises Layla to refrain from interfering, and Imadi insists on continuing the fight without any outside help. Despite the vast difference in their abilities, Imari tries her best, but Kashima continues to taunt and belittle her. Kaioya attempts to mediate the conflict, suggesting they settle their differences since they all successfully defeated the monsters during the test. However, the situation remains tense, and Kashima's bullying demeanor persists. Kyoya, attempting to restore normalcy in the abnormal situation at the academy, suggests resolving the conflict by acknowledging that they all passed the test. However, Kishima Takeru responds by sending Kyoya flying with a punch to the face, displaying his aggression and disdain. Kishima demands Kyoya to demonstrate his unique skill, only to be informed that Kyoya doesn't possess one. This revelation prompts Kishima to intensify his insults, calling Kyoya trash for lacking an ability. To exacerbate matters, Kishima threatens to burn Kyoya's bag, which contains feelers, claiming that those without abilities deserve to be incinerated. In a swift move, Kyoya crushes Kishima's hand and retrieves the bag, making use of Imari's assistance. Kishima, infuriated and arrogant, decides to showcase his unique skill, Digi, which amplifies his fire magic output by 100-fold. However, Kyoya effortlessly nullifies Kishima's skill, leaving him embarrassed and powerless. As classmates laugh at Kishima's failed attempts, he persists in his aggression, assuming that Kyoya's interference is his unique ability. Kyoya, however, clarifies that he doesn't have a unique skill, but possesses the ability to execute any skill at an advanced level. This revelation further adds to the mystery surrounding Kyoya's abilities. Unwilling to accept defeat, Kishima resorts to brute force, charging at Kyoya. In retaliation, Kyoya swiftly and decisively beats up Kishima, leaving onlookers astonished at his strength. To downplay the attention, Kyoya pretends to be injured, attributing the altercation to Kishima's clumsiness. Unexpectedly, the chief executive officer, Kuwa, wakes up from her apparent slumber and concludes the class. Despite the chaos, she encourages Kyoya to showcase his unique abilities further. As the class is transported back to the real classroom, Kyoya reflects on the excessive attention he has drawn to himself and contemplates the consequences of his actions. Kyoya finds himself entangled in the complexities of school life, especially with the formation of an unexpected team consisting mostly of enthusiastic girls. Yati, Imari, and Lala, along with Kyoya and Feliz, come together to celebrate their newly formed team. Kyoya, however, is less than thrilled about the situation and reflects on how he ended up in this peculiar group. Imari's sudden request to address Kyoya as master was linked to the team assignments posted in the hallway. The academy follows a team system where each team comprises 2 to 5 members, with a goddess overseeing them. Kyoya's reluctance stems from being the only guy in a team of excited girls, adding an unexpected layer of complexity to his school life. The celebration thrown by Lalala, the goddess in charge of their team, is in full swing, with everyone except Kyoya fully engrossed in the festivities. Kyoya reminisces about the events leading up to this situation, including Imari expressing her desire to be strong and learn how to fight. Despite Kyoya's attempts to distance himself from teaching, Imari persists in seeking guidance, prompting Kyoya to turn to the lazy goddess, La'ala, for assistance. Feliz encourages Kyoya not to isolate himself from his peers and to embrace the potential chaos that comes with being part of a team. Kyoya, however, remains cautious, fearing exposure of his hidden past. Feliz emphasizes the positive aspects of forming connections and experiences with others. The next day, Kyoya, sticking to his rigorous routine, engages in physical activities and encounters Imari, who is also practicing her swinging form. They engage in a conversation, during which Imari shares her background and the world she was summoned to. She expresses gratitude for the kindness of the people in her world and her desire to become strong for their sake. Kyoya, in turn, encourages her to conquer her fears and offers to help her with the basics of magic control. As school life kicks off, the class is divided into 2 segments: real heroes with unique abilities and failed heroes. Kyoya navigates the challenges of being part of the latter group, all while trying to find a balance between keeping his secrets hidden and forming connections with his teammates. The failed heroes, often overlooked and free to do as they please, find themselves engaged in repetitive basic training and lectures. Their routine lacks important tasks or missions, leading to a relatively peaceful yet uneventful existence. 2 weeks into their mundane school life, Layla delivers a warning letter addressed to Kaoya, signaling potential dismissal from the academy for both him and Imati if they fail to improve their negative SP levels. The SP level, a crucial element in student life, can be boosted through successful academic achievements or missions, while violations of school rules or mission failures decrease it. Kaoya, puzzled by the negative SP levels, discovers that Imati's careless actions are responsible for their predicament. In an attempt to enhance their SP libels, Feliz informs them about a Demon King subjugation expedition mission. Meanwhile, Kyle Goku, their superior, learns that he will be part of the same mission with Kaoya's team. Despite his disdain for them, Kyle Goku warns that he won't hesitate to deal with them if they become a hindrance. On the day of the Demon King subjugation expedition mission, Kaoya and his team head to the meeting plaza. Imati eagerly anticipates the joint operation with a senior group, expressing excitement to witness their awesomeness. However, Kaoya remains skeptical, attributing their need for the mission to Imati's carelessness. As they arrive late, Kyle Goku, the leader of the senior team, reprimands them. He clarifies that their role is to stay out of the way and provide support, emphasizing that the mission is Stage 3. Kaoya seeks an explanation for the joint operation, questioning why it's necessary if a single hero can clear the mission. The explanation about the stages and a bonus spare for training newcomers is abruptly interrupted by Kyle Goku, who physically reprimands the lecturer. Kyle Goku asserts that the joint operation is for bonus SEP aiming to train the newcomers. The mission becomes an opportunity for Kiara and Imati to improve their standing at the academy, albeit with the added challenge of dealing with a less-than-friendly senior team leader. The A-team, in need of bonus SPEP but not assistance, emphasizes that the B-team should stay out of their way during the Demon King subjugation expedition mission. The goddess Lady Frisia, who oversees the A-team, intervenes to prevent hostilities, reminding them that they are all part of the same team now. She announces a promotion for Kyle Goku upon mission completion and urges unity. During introductions, Kaoya and Imati are noticeably flustered in Lady Frisia's presence. As they pass through the transfer gate, they arrive in a place called Rome's Dumes, where the king personally welcomes them and hosts a feast to celebrate their arrival. While Lara and Imati enjoy the food, Kaoya is captivated by the picturesque world. Kyle Goku promptly shifts the focus to business, explaining the dire situation in Rome, where battles against the demon army, heavy taxes, marauding monsters, and food shortages have led to widespread suffering. Kyle Goku seeks information on the Demon Lord's location, dismissing the idea of an elite force and preferring to handle the mission alone. He assigns the B-team to defend the castle. After the A-team departs, a maid guides the B-team to their living quarters. Layla claims a sofa for a nap. Imati expresses her eagerness for the defending mission, and Kaoya reminds her of her initial desire to learn how to fight properly. The conversation is interrupted by someone flying over the balcony, questioning if they are the heroes from the other world, leaving the B-team intrigued. The stranger challenges Imat to a fight. Imat, armed with her blade, urges Kaya to stay back as she launches an attack. However, the intruder skillfully dodges and counters, leaving Imat on her back. Kaoya intervenes, putting the intruder in an arm lock and restraining them. The intruder, named Anri, recognizes Kaya's speed and asks not to be moved. Kia assesses Imat, who seems mostly okay, but a bit dazed. Anri used the back of her sword to subdue Imat, suggesting no intent to kill. This raises questions about the intruder's motives. Kaoya and Anri help Imat onto a sofa. Anri reveals she's curious about Kaya's identity, suspecting him to be the local hero prophesied to take on the Demon Lord. She introduces herself and mentions a goddess's prophecy about a hero from another world. Anri attack to test if they are trustworthy protectors. She cares deeply for people in her world and wants to confirm Kaya's team can save them. Anri doubts Kaya's strength against the Demon Lord and shares her past failures against Gigjorg, who took her parents and village. She expresses doubts about being a true hero and apologizes for the gloomy reflection. Kaya assures Anri that his team, including elite heroes, will bring justice and fulfill her vengeance. Anri appreciates the reassurance and emphasizes her desire to see the Demon Lord defeated. Imat shares her experience of feeling weak, but vows to continue wielding her sword for protection. The conversation turns light-hearted with teasing and introductions. Kaya wonders why heroes from another world are summoned when locals care deeply about protecting their own. Feliz senses magic in the air, signaling bad omens, and asks Kilia to be on guard. Kia questions why goddesses can't empower local heroes. Feliz explains that Earth's people were created as powerful warriors to be called upon in times of need. Humans, destined to become great warriors, would destroy themselves if given unrestricted access to the goddess's powers. The goddess, overseeing the world tree, placed shackles on them to prevent chaos. Kaya speculates that the academy is run by both goddesses and humans, and Feliz confirms the danger of the situation. They ponder the goddess's motives in breaking the taboo. Suddenly, a carnival tent materializes, prompting Imat and Anri to investigate. Anri indicates some familiarity with the situation. A mysterious voice echoes, announcing the arrival of a colossal clown figure, Gig Jorg, the demon lord. Anri confronts him, enraged by his audacity. Gig Jorg teases her about killing his 4 heavenly kings, provoking her. As the group talks, soldiers arrive with a magic cannon aimed at Gig Jorg. The cannon hits, but Anri doubts the demon lord's defeat. Gig Jorg mocks the soldiers and summons demons, creating chaos. Kie realizes the giant figure in the sky is a magic-made dummy, and the real Gig Jorg could be any. Ready to join the fight, Kaya notices Koku Arata and his companions, the A-Team, on a building. Koku absorbs their magic, demonstrating impressive abilities. He effortlessly wipes out the demon army with air raids. Gig Jorg, surprised by the hero's strength, reveals his true, normal-sized body. Gig Jorg admits coming due to a strong magical presence. Koku mocks him, saying he made a mistake. Gig Jorg sarcastically compares the heroes to a child with a new toy. The Demon Lord, Gig Jorg, reveals his psychopathic intentions to crush the new heroes in front of the people and enjoy the despair on their faces. He releases intimidating magical energy, originally targeting Anri but now focused on the heroes. Gig Jorg sends a powerful energy attack at Koku Goku, who skillfully neutralizes it with the Vola Verilos skill. Koku Goku then surprises Gig Jorg, swiftly disarming and landing hits on the Demon Lord. Gig Jorg, stunned and powerless, is defeated in front of everyone. Kiyoya analyzes the battle, realizing that Koku's strength comes from a 3-man enhancement magic. Koku, however, rudely taunts Kiyoya, highlighting the difference between true heroes and losers. As Koku and his team leave, Anri is left in awe of Koku's strength. The people celebrate their victory over the Demon Lord, but the joy is short-lived. Gig Jorg reappears through a teleportation circle, vowing revenge against Koku. The Demon Lord, now just a talking head, bitterly complains about his suffering and refuses to die. Despite some losing confidence, many, including Koku, remain undeterred. They believe they have gauged Gig Jorg's strength during the battle, dismissing the Demon Lord's escape as inconsequential. Kiyoya warns against complacency, but Koku dismissively questions advice from amateurs like Anri, emphasizing the difference between their teams. The people praise Koku for his heroic deeds, and the city enters a festive mood. Despite Gig Jorg still being alive, the recent battle has instilled renewed hope in the people. The city celebrates with food, drinks, peace, and festive decorations, marking a turning point in their belief that the Demon Lord can be defeated. Amidst the celebrations, Kaya and his companions watch from a distance, with Layla eager to join the festivities. However, Kaya advises against it, reminding Layla of her status as a goddess and the potential problems her presence among the people could cause. Tempted with a counter-offer of chips, soda, and pudding, Layla agrees to stay put. Feliz too is tempted but is dissuaded by Kaya. Anri, still brooding over the events with the Demon Lord, isn't in the mood for celebration. Kaya senses her distress and urges his friends to stay with her for support. Unexpectedly, Shindo Yuki from Team A knocks on their door. Yuki introduces himself as the support guy from Team A and apologizes for Koku's earlier behavior, explaining that their team leader, Kyogoku, has a pragmatic approach that may come off as rude. Yuki addresses Anri specifically, acknowledging her sacrifices for the city. He apologizes for the outsider heroes taking credit for saving the city when Anri deserves the praise. Anri insists she's okay with it, expressing her commitment to protecting others. Yuki reveals his F rank, the lowest class, and shares his own story of feeling powerless against the Demon Lord in his original world. He joined the Academy Heroes and earned his mark, but he sees himself as a fake hero who piggybacked on others' efforts. Yuki empathizes with Anri's struggles and emphasizes her role in fighting the Demon Lord before the Academy Heroes arrived. As Yuki prepares to leave, he mentions that his team is about to finish off the Demon Lord, expecting everything to be over by morning. The others wish him luck, and Anri, for once, feels a sense of safety in leaving the Demon Lord to the Academy Heroes. As the city celebrates and waits for news of the Demon Lord's defeat, Kaya praises Yuki's positive attitude, noting that if all heroes were like him, associating with them wouldn't be an issue. However, Feliz disagrees, mentioning that Anri's niceness lacks a sense of arrogance, which might put her at a disadvantage. Despite the prevailing optimism, Kaya and his companions are concerned about the fate of the fallen heroes from Team A. Morning arrives quickly, and the city is filled with people eagerly awaiting the heroes' return. However, when the heroes emerge from the teleportation circle, they are all unconscious and sprawled on the ground. The mood in the city shifts from excitement to anxiety, and Kaya and his companions rush to check on the fallen heroes. Yuki apologizes, revealing that Team has failed against Gigjorg. The fallen heroes are taken into medical care, and the head surgeon assures that their lives are not in danger, although they have been stripped of their roots, representing their souls. Yuki is the only one whose roots barely survived, but he is badly injured. Kia contemplates the force powerful enough to take away one's root and questions if Gigjorg truly did so in their previous battle. He suspects a more potent force behind the Demon Lord. Layla mentions that unless Lady Thesia wakes up, she cannot open a gate for help. Anri unexpectedly gets up, determined to fulfill her duty as a hero. Kat and Kaya advise her against rash decisions, emphasizing that her presence is a symbol of hope for the anxious people. Kilia suggests waiting for the Academy to send reinforcements. Anri agrees to stay put for now, but she's visibly uneasy. Kaya observes the situation and believes they must remain calm until help arrives. Eventually, Anri leaves to check on the city, and Kati offers to accompany her. Kaya gives Kati his silver ring as a good luck charm. Layla, tired, rests her head on Kaya's lap as he contemplates the situation. Later that night, Kaya opens a teleportation circle, revealing his intention to act. Feliz questions his decision, and Kaya goes to retrieve a special sword from a familiar location. Despite the difficulty in lifting the sword, Kaya succeeds and returns to the city. Surprisingly, Feliz in human form waits for him outside the circle, teasingly questioning his decision. They agree that Kaya must do what he has in mind, but Feliz warns him to be careful. The next teleportation circle leads directly to the Demon Lord's castle. The Demon Lord is informed of Kaya's arrival and commands his army to prepare for the incoming challenger. As Kaya enters the castle, it remains uncertain whether he is truly prepared for what awaits him, and if the Demon Lord is aware of the impending challenge.